Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey there, friend. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio. This is your home for organic Bible study. Looking today in Psalm 44, verses 16 through 20. Here at the Bible Bistro, so pull up a seat. That's what's on the menu. It's hot, it's fresh, it's 100% Bible. And you're going to enjoy, maybe you'll enjoy today. I don't know. Today is one of those tough subjects. We've seen that this psalm really takes up some difficult themes. The psalmist is not afraid. He does not shy away from that which is hard or that which is difficult. We tend to shy away from hard things, don't we? But the psalmist gives us truth. And we have it here in spades in this particular section. Looking at 16 through 20, let me read those for you today. For the voice of him that reproacheth and blasphemeth by reason of the enemy and avenger. All this has come upon us, yet have we not forgotten thee, neither have we dealt falsely in thy covenant. Our heart is not turned back, neither have our steps declined from thy way. Though thou hast sore broken us in the place of dragons, and covered us with the shadow of death, if we have forgotten the name of our God, or stretched out our hands to a strange God, shall not God search this out? For he knoweth the secrets of the heart. Well, now, I just read to you through verse 21. I forgot I was going to include 21 in that passage today. So, what we have here is the reason. We've seen the nature. We saw the nature of the persecution beginning all the way back in verse 10, right? Thou makest us to turn back from the enemy. And then all the way through 11, 12, 13, 14, we have the nature of the persecution, of the abandonment, if you will. You have made us a byword, it ends there in verse 14, a shaking of the head amongst people. And then he says there, my confusion is continually before me. And then we have 16 through 21. This is the cause or the reason why we have this turning, that God is turning away from his people. Now that we know the nature of the turning, what's the cause of the turning? Why do you think? I mean, immediately you would probably say, well, it's probably because they sinned against God, right? We know the history. We know Israel. We know how they've turned against him. And we know ourselves, and we know our own natures. And so we would say, well, it's because they've abandoned covenant. They've walked away from the Lord. They've abandoned truth. They've perverted justice. There's a million ways we could frame this in our minds. But that's not what we find here. We find something completely different. Listen now. He says, verse 17, all this has come upon us, yet. Again, we have another one of those very strong adversatives here. Yet we have not forgotten thee. Neither have we dealt falsely in thy covenant. Our heart is not turned back, neither have our steps declined from thy way. So, 4 things he says here. This has come upon us, but we've not sinned. Look at that. We've not forgotten you. We've not dealt falsely with your covenant. We've not turned back, and our steps have not declined from your way. So, they're perfectly right to complain about what's happening, but that still doesn't answer the cause question, does it? I want to read to you from Charles Spurgeon's Treasury of David. He says, the entire psalm, that's Psalm 44, might be called the martyr's complaint. Not for sin, but for righteousness did saints suffer. Not for falsehood, but for truth. Not for forsaking the Lord, but for following hard after him. Sufferings of such a sort may be very terrible, but they are exceedingly honorable, and the comforts of the Lord shall sustain those who are accounted worthy to suffer for Christ's sake. And so here, the psalmist cries out, we've followed after you, and yet we have suffered. And if you were to look at us and examine our hearts, you would find out, you would search us out and know the secrets of our heart, that we tell the truth. That's how he ends it there in verse 21. All right, we'll take this up tomorrow, and we're going to look into the New Testament in Romans and see that this comes across in Paul's writing in Romans chapter 8. So I hope you'll join me then on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.